The age of social media, all it takes nowadays to spark up an online fight is to merely have an opinion. One opinion will cause many to spiral into a pit hole of anger where no one dialogues, only insults the person who has the unpopular or even the popular opinion regarding the latest trends in comic books, movies, or pulp culture. It makes sense given the circumstance. After all, acting tough behind the protective wall of the black mirror we all own and use on a daily basis makes it easy for anyone to jump right into a tirade of insults and threats. Again, just for having an opinion that they may disagree with. I decided to go against that notion. I've decided to start a video series where we discuss the hot topic issues within the comic book industry and pulp culture and provide you with another perspective. One of logic, reason, with just plain old dialogue between two people who have different opinions. My co-host and I will discuss the pulp culture topics at hand in a fun, engaging, and respectable manner. So, without further ado, for a brief hiatus to me.
Kyle, and guest of the show is
Tony James,
All
creator
right,
of
welcome back, Tony.
Glad to be back, Kyle. It's
Oh yeah, gotta have that. Gotta show off all my stuff, as I do.
What is that? A prequel stormtrooper helmet?
Oh no!
Oh no, can't say that.
You don't want to cross
At
that
least-
line with Kyle, Tony.
I know he'll have to like subtweet me once a week for 4 months. There's one person.
Yeah,
that.
a brief. The reason we had the brief
Anyway.
hiatus because I was on vacation. I took a little vacation, and I wanted to relax on the last Friday before I had to go back to work. So that's why I didn't have the show last Friday. I was like, you know what? Let me enjoy my last Friday before I have to go back to the grind. And then the weekend after the Friday after that, Kyle here went to San Diego Comic-Con for Thursday to Saturday. And he picked up a lot of cool stuff. He met a lot of cool people, just like the way it's supposed to go down, right? At a con.
Yeah.
And again, welcome back, Tony. It's always good to have you on the show. We're excited to talk about your latest project. I remember you teased what you were working on the last time you were here, and the premise sounded cool. And so I was looking forward to it. So now we get to talk about it, which is exciting. But before we do that, Kyle, what'd you pick up? How was your week? How was San Diego Comic-Con? Let us know.
It was amazing, as always. By the end of it, man, my feet were about to fall off because of all the walking and all the standing that you had to go through all the lines. But I was lucky enough that I got pretty much everything on my list that I wanted. So that worked out really well. But the amount of people and the crowds and everything like that, I mean, it was just as much as it was last year, maybe even a little bit more. But it was crazy fun. If you've never been to San Diego Comic-Con before, I know it's very difficult to, but if you can try, you can definitely go. It's one of those things where it's like, it should be like a bucket list type thing, at least to go to experience how like massive of a convention this is. It's not really even part of convention. It's just like a whole like experience that you have to go through because it takes up not just the convention center, but like the whole San Diego, basically. But in terms of what I got a lot of cool stuff. So first up, I got a few books. I'm going to go over some of the highlights of all of them. If you want to see what else I picked up, check out my Instagram. I did post some of my experiences and stuff and what I got. But some of the highlights is right here, which is I got my Absolute Batman #1, the Jim Lee variant cover, signed by Scott Snyder, who was the writer, Nick DeGrota, who did the interiors, and Jim Lee, who did this specific cover.
Show off.
What is it like meeting Nick? Is he very nice?
Dude, Nick DeGrota is the nicest guy that you could possibly imagine. I mean, like, he was so cool to talk to. He's just a regular. Thanks, man, for a lot of fun writing it and channel. and you can just tell him and Scott Snyder have a book that just came out. And so it's one of those things where talk about the book and what inspired them, how they got to it. And it was also fun. I got some pictures of both me and Jim Lee and me and Soul up in just a second.
What stood out the most during that panel?
I think it was that moment with the Bane, when they're talking about Bane and stuff like that, because it was the one that got the most amount of laughs and the most fun with it. But it was also just cool seeing his creative an artist, and then it eventually moved back into actual hand-drawn stuff. So yeah, this is me with Scott Snyder, and he's also really cool guy. Love to talk to him. He always wants to chat with fans, so definitely awesome to see. So like talking with him for so long, and then I'm like, oh man, I get with Jim
announcement that he's going to be at a certain table at a certain booth, whatever the case. But tell us, because when you shared the story with me earlier, I was earlier in the week, I was like, what? They just did that? But go for it. You tell us.
Yeah. So basically, at the convention, one of the booths, they own a couple of comic book stores here and in Vegas as well. They're called Torpedo Comics, and the owner personally knows Jim Lee, so he goes to a lot of the events and knows him, and he comes to his shop and does signings and stuff. Well, there wasn't really announced anywhere that he was going to be there. It was just kind of like he just shows up at his booth and is just like, okay, we're signing this variant cover of this Jim Lee book, and it's $150 for the book with Jim Lee's autograph. And then it just was like in this like corner in the convention center, so it was like hardly like a big line that usually stretches with Jim Lee. So I go over there, and then I'm just like, hey, can I just go in and just get this book signed? And they're like, yeah, that's fine. It's just it's cheaper. It's $65 for his autograph. But yeah, I just walked right up, get up there, and then got a signature. And then I come back and I talk to my friend. He's like, wait, how did you get Jim Lee? I just was, he's like waiting for like an hour over there in his line. I'm like, yeah, he's just right over there. Just 10 minutes and you can go get him. He's like, I could have gone and done something else, but that's Comic-Con for you. So just kind of had to be at the right place at the right time. But that completed the trifecta that I wanted for that book. And I also got a few others of the Absolute Batman signed as well. So, but if you want to, you have to look at my Instagram to see them all. But the next interaction I had, which was probably my favorite interaction at San Diego Comic-Con, which was meeting Dan Jurgens, because he wrote, obviously he was big in, with Superman and the death of Superman and all that, but he also was a part of the 0 Hour mini crisis event that happened, which Hal Jordan was the Parallax version of Hal Jordan was the main antagonist. And there was only a couple people behind me. I'm like, oh, this is great. He's going to be here for an hour telling me all about this stuff. I'm asking him questions, and he's like, oh yeah, man. Well, originally what we were going to do was, it was originally going to be a Flash villain that was going to be for this. But when we went over, kind of good with what we're at. And they're like, yeah, we're ready for a change. And so we decided to switch for Reign of Superman. And he's telling me about this and that, and he's drawing this out. And then, guy comes up that's working for San Diego, goes up to Dan Jurgens' ear, and he's like, hey, you got a line stretching all the way down over there. And I'm like, oh, he's like, oh, shoot. I'm sorry, because I thought there was just 5 people behind me, but apparently they didn't realize how big Dan Jurgens was. And so they took the line and then wrapped it around the entire other way on the other side of the hall. And so then he's like, okay, I'm going to finish this up real fast. You're probably going to be the only one that gets a sketch that don't show anybody to, but you got it. So I got that cool picture with him and great interaction. He was great to talk to again. That was probably the highlight of my San Diego Comic-Con. And then to top it off, the cherry on top was obtaining this book, which is a grail of mine that I wanted to get, obviously, because a Green Lantern fan, was Green Lantern number 59, the first appearance of Guy Gardner.
Nice, dude. Nice.
So, as the Superman movie came out, I'm like, well, it's probably a good time to buy. This is a book that's been, obviously going up because everybody's liking Nathan Fillion as Green Lantern. And so I picked it up for a pretty good price, and I'm going to get it cleaned up and pressed and eventually graded, and it's going to be a great addition to my collection. But yeah, this was something that I definitely wanted to get, and I'm glad it's in my collection now. Cool. But yeah, it was crazy, especially on Thursday. Thursday we drove, went from waking up at 5 a.m, getting in the car, driving all the way down there to San Diego, getting into the convention center, which is obviously a pain because it wraps around so much, and then staying the whole convention through Wednesday, go to the hotel, drop off our stuff, and then go watch Fantastic Four, and then in the movie theater, because obviously you have to watch Fantastic Four at Comic-Con week. And man, the AMC theater that we were in, the seats reclined all the way back. It took every bit of strength I had to not fall asleep during the movie because I was so dead tired. But yeah, it was a pretty good movie, though. I will say. So, what did you? I know, Tony, you said you watched Fantastic Four. What was your thoughts on it?
I loved it. I thought it was like a Silver Age comic book come to life. I loved the 60s aesthetic, the attention to detail, the idea that there was a 60s cartoon version of them, that was kind of a background detail. And it had the animation style of those old 60s cartoons. I think that was a nice detail. Yeah, I think Sue Storm just really kind of steals the movie. I mean, she got a third act moment that it's just okay, Sue, talk your shit. Okay, nice to see you. I thought it's hard to tell because I was talking to my girlfriend about it. It was with the MCU movies kind of not having really kind of great standout movies for a while. I was wondering if it was kind of the pod racing scene in episode 1 of the Phantom Menace, where it was that's a great scene, but do we also really like that scene because for 30 minutes up to that point nothing was happening, and we were just
they're just kind of standing around almost. Yeah,
we were so excited for something to happen, and then when something does happen, we're like, oh my god, pod racing, I love pod racing. And it's that's how I feel about it a little bit. I mean, I still think it's worth seeing in the theater, Julius. But yeah, I think kind of why it might be a little bit elevated is just because MCU has been kind of in this very lull state for a while, and finally something's original. It feels very good. It makes you excited for Avengers Doomsday. It really kind of primes you for what's to come next. And honestly, as someone who didn't really like those 2000s Fantastic Four movies, I was happy to see a really good adaptation of it. I think the only thing I didn't really like was the haircut for Johnny Storm. Why do you gotta do that, man? That is not a good haircut for. And then also there was a couple instances of CGI baby that was a little.
Oh yeah.
Oh really? Okay, interesting.
Yeah, it was a little rough there for a bit.
It got a little uncanny valley, uncanny baby, and it was just this is weird. But everything else, I think,
just kind of floating there.
Yeah, Ben's holding a baby, and you're like, that baby's not real in your hand. That's weird.
Yeah.
But
I was baby.
I was very entertained. I think it's a legitimate W for the MCU, one that doesn't that's the one that's not propped up by cameos and just kind of callbacks to other movies. It's oh no, this one stands alone. You can just watch this. If you just want to watch a Fantastic Four movie, it's a really good one. And also I think it's a proof of concept for a live action Jetsons. So yeah. I was watching it and I'm like, there's no reason that they can't make a live action Jetsons. Just watching this, like it would look like this. It would look a little bit like this. Because they kind of nail all of the kind of character types that you see in the Jetsons. So I thought it was good and very entertaining.
Oh, great.
Oh yeah,
great.
Yeah, I mean that's what I took away from it too. Yeah, it definitely has the Jetsons type feel to it, which was perfect for it because it has, the Fantastic Four always kind of has that type of, aesthetic to it to begin with. They're kind of like, they're the scientists, superheroes type of thing. So they always have like futuristic technology, and it's always kind of like a little goofy looking, but that's what makes it so lovable. And I think that all of the characters worked really well. Galactus was definitely one that I definitely felt the scale of Galactus. They got that done really well.
He was scary. He was like legitimate when they introduced him. I was like, oh wow, okay, this is like the next level threat. Like I kept nudging my girlfriend like they need the X-Men for this. They need the X-Men for this. There's no way it could be just them. They need the X-Men. He was legitimately like a serious threat. There's one part, I won't spoil what it is, but it involves teleportation, where it was like, man, we really need like a Neil deGrasse Tyson to kind of explain the fit. There's something they suggest with teleportation. You're like, I don't think there's anything in the laws of physics that would suggest that this would work. But it was like it was comic book movie stuff, so you kind of just roll with it.
I know that was the thing. It's like, they do a good job of setting up the fact that it is a comic book movie, and they are pretty campy with a lot of this stuff in there. So it's like the suspension of disbelief is pretty high in this movie. It's like, okay, well, it's already pretty goofy concept to begin with. This, thing that they're suggesting is really goofy, but it's like, all right, maybe it could work just because it's, fun like that.
But I think Reed Richards, I mean, they all have great like one-liners, but the one that I really remember is that Reed says, I think the terrible things don't happen to other people. And I was like, that is such a good line.
Ooh, that's a good line.
Yeah.
Wow.
And it really kind of highlighted his character, where he's just like trying to analyze everything from all possible angles, like even plans that they don't want to do, he has to kind of consider them.
Yeah, and they kind of have some tension there because of that. Because he's, he basically thinks of the worst case scenario every single time, because that's just how he is. He thinks of every scenario, and when if you think of every scenario, one of them's the worst case scenario. So then they get on him, for doing that.
And what's her name? Shalabal. She was good. I honestly, when in the trailers, it made it seem like you're just going to see her for 2 seconds, and that she might not be like a developed character, but she's 100% a developed character, and she's cool. She gets her own like moment, and you're like, oh, right on. Like it's just really refreshing to see like an MCU movie kind of like hit all its marks in the way that like that first Iron Man did. Where you're like, oh, they finally nailed like a true adaptation of this character, and like you want to see the Avengers, you want to see the Fantastic Four come back in the Avengers.
Yeah, I know that's one thing too. Like, what was specifically with Shala Ball, I mean, I also am a pretty big Silver Surfer fan, but specifically, obviously Norrin Rad is like the more well-known version of Silver Surfer. And seeing them switch it to Shala Ball, I was a little hesitant on it. After watching the movie, I'm more indifferent towards it. They do a very good job with her character, and I can understand, there are some plot elements and some jokes and stuff like that they put in specifically for being that character. I personally think that it, you could have probably just had it be the regular Silver Surfer 2, and it just be about the same too. So,
but they just had to go woke with it.
Yeah, they just had to do it, but it didn't like ruin the movie for me. And she had a purpose, and so it's like, and she was good. The actress that did play her was good, and so it worked. It was just one of those things where it's like, yeah, but you could have also just had the character that everybody really wanted.
And
so
she had good interactions with Johnny Storm. They have a lot of they have moments together that I think work really well. Everybody. Yeah, I just all the performances are great. I mean, it's great to see Reed Richards and Sue Storm just have like genuine chemistry. Like you buy this marriage. Those two actors, they really play off each other really well. I really loved it. As someone who's kind of very cynical on MCU stuff, because I think it gets pretty formulaic. I was kind of really surprised. Like, can't believe I'm super into this.
Me too. Yeah, I was going into it with like very cautiously optimistic about it. And they got most of everything right. Like one of the things too that I really did like about it was like you were talking about with the interactions and the dynamics that they have between Sue and Reed. But I think that they did put a lot of emphasis on that the decisions that they make have to be made as a group, and they want to be as like a family. Like it's a family's decision that we're doing this. It's like, yeah, even though Reed or Johnny or something like that have different takes on what they want to do, we're all coming to agreement on what we need to do. And I think that's what really helps sell it. And for me personally, when I first walked out of the theater, I actually thought it was a little bit better than Superman. Ooh. And so I looked at my friend. My friend hated Superman, like flat out. He would never watch it again. I, obviously spread my, concerns on the movie last time. But after watching it, I turned to my friend and he's all like, not bad. So it's like, and I'm like, yeah, pretty good too. So personally for me, I would say that this was definitely like a B+, edging on like A, but more like B+.
I would say that that's fair. Yeah. And I think it's kind of the pod racing scene. I think it's just elevated because MCU is in such a low for so long that it's just nice to see something like remotely refreshing that doesn't rely on other movies. I haven't seen Superman, so I can't really compare it. But I'll see Superman when it's on streaming.
You don't care enough to go watch it in theaters.
Well, it just none of the trailers really spoke to me. James Gunn, I don't know, his sense of humor, like I don't get it. Like I feel like I have a pretty wide spectrum of humor that I'll laugh at. Like I'll laugh at like clever wordplay, but I think I've also laughed at like a fart joke in some kids movie. So like. But like James Gunn, I'm like, is he making himself laugh? Like, I don't know where to like insert myself in the joke. Like,
that's a fair assessment. That's how I feel about James Gunn's humor too. It's like kind of like, wait, who is this supposed to be funny to? Like, I don't understand. It's kind of all over the place, this humor of his.
I mean, from what I could gather, even critical people seem to be in agreement that the actor that plays Superman is a good Superman.
I will agree with that.
Everyone seems to be it where everyone starts fighting is everything around Superman.
Pretty much. Like my thing was that, I wish we just got more of Superman in the Superman movie, and that's the thing that I kind of liked more about Fantastic Four is because it's just Fantastic Four. It's not Fantastic Four teasing the Avengers, teasing, X-Men crossing over and all that stuff. It's just Fantastic Four. And we're just and they do pull back a lot of the Marvel humor. And they just kind of have naturally funny scenes throughout it.
Yeah. And there's also like a lot of like earnest moments. There's stuff like involving their kid that they have, which I won't spoil, but like it gets pretty serious, like among the people of the city. Like Sue Storm has a great monologue that she does in front of the tower. And it's like, this is like pretty high stakes for a Marvel movie like this. Like there's a lot of emotional depth here for this. And I can confirm that the Mr. Fantastic, his stretchy physics looks good. It looks good.
Yeah, it looks good for what they did. Yeah, it was.
I was like, when they were like not really showing it in the trailer, I'm like, I think they might. I think that CGI might. But he uses it a bunch, especially in that third act, and I was like, this looks good. This doesn't look goofy at all.
Yeah.
He almost kind of like moves a little bit like Spider-Man with it, which I thought that was pretty interesting.
Kind of, yeah. I kind of got that too.
The way he kind of scrambles up buildings and like, yeah, but it looked good.
I wish that they did do a little bit more creativeness with his powers. They kind of just limited it to him just kind of just reaching far.
Yes.
I wish they kind of kept that, because I mean, like, you know, in the comic books and stuff, like he can make like shapes and like do all these different things, and it's like I kind of wish maybe they had at least maybe one scene with him doing like a really like, you know, big fantastic, quote unquote, you know, a pun intended, fantastic thing. But
well, there is that one part if you've ever had a Stretch Armstrong in the 90s.
Oh yeah, that was yeah, an interesting scene.
But yeah, it was good. I mean, I would say the teaser that they do like mid credits, that's the one that's the most worth it. Yeah. The other one at the end, it's like, it's okay. You know, it's really, you know, just more of a tribute thing. But the main one that sets up the Avengers movie that's coming up, you're like, okay, cool, I'm ready for this. And also, it was I don't know if this is the first movie to do it, but like it's like a multiverse. Like it's not Earth.
Right.
It's
yeah, I think they like. I think they have like set it up that it does exist, but I don't know if we ever actually had any movies in those other universes.
Yeah, it was just interesting to see, like, you know, when it was just like, oh, Earth 328, and you're like, oh, this is like a multiverse thing. Like we're not even on Earth. Like this is a whole separate thing. That was cool.
Which I think helps it a lot, because then you can kind of get by with a lot of stuff that you don't have to reference everything, because it's like, oh well, it's a different Earth. So
and it really sells the world, like when you kind of know that you're like, okay, this is not the Earth that we know. You go with the technology that they have and how the townspeople feel about the Fantastic Four. And it's like, also it was great that they kind of skipped over like the Fantastic Four origin story. It was like, great. You know it, you've seen it. If you don't, just Google it real quick, and boom, they're Fantastic Four. Like, so.
Oh, good, good. Yeah, I'm tired of origin, sections in movies nowadays. It's kind of like, no, I think if a character or a team is recognizable at this point, pop culture wise, you don't need the origin story.
Mm-hmm.
So that's good. Now you guys convinced me to actually go watch it now.
Yeah,
you guys really made a great case for all those points you guys were sharing and the things you guys liked about it. I'm sitting here going like, that sounds good. Actually, that's something that sounds like right up my alley. I would enjoy something like that.
I haven't seen Superman, but between what I kind of see of Superman and also Fantastic Four, I'm ready for more campy superheroes. Like we could be silly again.
Agreed.
Yeah. Agreed. Even when I was watching the Batman, the Matt Reeves one, it was just like, I loved that movie. But I was at the feeling, it was like, I think we're at the end of the road of this. Like, what if he could be real? And I kind of want to go back to like a Joel Schumacher thing where it's just like over the top.
Yeah,
it's like come on, James Gunn, just do one where it's over the top, it's crazy, like he's just right out of the comic book.
I think that's probably why they started with the Clayface movie. He probably wants to introduce that idea to the mass audience, because the Clayface villain is very like out there, and comic book fans, we embrace it, but the question is, do the movie going audience can embrace something like a Clayface? So at first I didn't like the idea of a Clayface movie being done first before a Batman movie, but now I understand why. He wants to get the audience used to, like, no, we're gonna go full ham on Batman. We're gonna go all in on Batman. So hopefully that's the case.
Yeah, I'm curious to see how he does with what a James Gunn Batman is like. And just so long as he is the Batman that's always skeptical of Superman. I always like when Batman is standing on business, and it's like, look, guys, if Superman is compromised, we're all screwed. So we need a contingency plan.
Yeah,
right. Yeah.
Well, Bruce, I don't really know about that. And you're like, well, it's not up to you. So I'm gonna go figure it out.
And you know what? You're getting pretty powerful too.
Yeah.
It's like.
It was just like with the Tower of Babel, or the one where he's got. Yeah, and then it all gets leaked out, and you're like, so, yeah. So
One of the best JLA storylines for sure.
Yeah.
Ever written. And props to Mark Waid. I'm not a big fan of Mark Waid now, but when he wrote that storyline, I was like, dude, now this is great.
Yeah.
JLA stuff.
And even the animated one that they did, I think it was called Doom.
Yeah, that was good too. Doom.
Yeah.
Doom. That was great too.
Really good time with that. But yeah, I'll let you know my thoughts on the Superman. I'm doing my best to keep an open mind. Unfortunately, we live in a world where people record scenes and and they put it on TikTok for clicks. So it was just like, I've seen this. I've seen the Superman speech. I put on my boots one at a time. I've seen the Supergirl like teaser thing, and I'm just like, oh boy, I feel like I've seen too much of this movie.
without the context.
Yeah. I mean, I don't have any I don't know when it happens. It's like it's like when you kind of know the ending of a pro wrestling match. It's like, well, you could still enjoy it because you don't know when or how they won. Like,
exactly.
so you still be surprised on that stuff. But yeah, Supergirl is a drunk. That's a choice.
Well, it'll be an interesting arc to find out when the movie comes out. See how that works out.
Yeah. I mean, but it's fine. I don't think I've ever really there's never been a live action Superman that I've ever really loved. The various small things that I've liked, even the Zack Snyder one. It was like I was just on vacation and we caught Man of Steel in the hotel room, and it was like, man, I really like the first half of this movie. Like this first half of this movie is like really interesting and is really a good take on it. And it just becomes like a Mortal Kombat game at the end where it's just like a big punch out. And you're like, I'm not here for this part. And then also, but then it's like, I like the first half of that movie. And then I like Zack Snyder's Justice League just because Superman comes at the very end to save the day. And he's got that very cool line, not impressed.
Yeah.
Where he defeats Steppenwolf. Yeah. But yeah, mine is always the Justice League Unlimited Superman.
Mm-hmm.
That's always the one I'm the most fond of. I don't know if we'll ever see a live action version of that. I thought there are parts of Henry Cavill's performance that kind of dip into that a little bit, but nothing that fully kind of hits that.
Yeah, well, he definitely looked like Superman when they put they got the costume and everything on.
Yeah,
but yeah, it's.
I just don't get the fighting about the Superman movie. Because it's just because it's like, with Batman, it's like every time they do a new iteration of Batman, I'm excited. I'm like, cool. Like I have like my favorites. Like which one will this be in the ranking? And will this reorder the ranking? So I don't know why people fight. My favorite movie that both Zack Snyder directed and James Gunn wrote was the Dawn of the Dead remake.
Dawn of the Dead, yeah, that was a classic, man. Classic.
That movie's awesome and still holds up. Those guys got to get together and make something again.
Yeah, I think they should. It'd be great.
That
was a great movie.
Yeah,
it was a great combination of James Gunn's writing, which is good, and the comedy was on point. The comedy on that movie was on point for me. And then of course it was Zack Snyder's first film, and he just hit all cylinders in that first movie, man. And it was fantastic, really, from beginning to end. I was really surprised how good it was when I watched it in the theater. Yeah.
So we'll see. Hopefully just get the Superman on HBO Max so I can just watch it.
Oh, it'll happen sooner than later. It's nowadays it's real fast when they put it on that streaming service.
I just watched Sinners, and I was just like, which was a good movie, by the way. I mean, I didn't really care for the vampire stuff, only because it seemed very bare bones. Like my dad's a big horror buff, so I've seen like all the crazy like vampire stories, like all that. So it just seemed very tame, like that aspect of it. But the whole, like the way the movie opened and all those characters they set up about the gangsters, like setting up the juke joint, and the blues player, like that character is the best character of the whole movie. I enjoyed that much, and it was like when the vampires are coming, I'm like, is it weird? I don't want the vampires to show up. Like I'm into this drama about the juke joint. Like I want to hear about this and the blues player, and that you bought land from the KKK, and you're like, yes, just get this vampire stuff out of here. You don't need it.
Just keep it in this world. You don't need to bring the supernatural in.
Yeah. But I was still entertained. Even though the vampire stuff didn't really kind of like bowl me over, it was still good. So everyone gave a really good performance.
Yeah, which I wasn't surprised about. Now I'm surprised. Do they even mention it there? No, they don't. But it would have been interesting if they served moonshine in that movie.
Oh, nice.
Because that would have been. I don't know if moonshine was a thing during that time. I don't know if it was in the 1800s. More so, I really don't know much history about moonshine. I know what moonshine is, but it would have been interesting. So that segues to your book, and you know what? It just dawned on me when we started the stream of the title.
Yeah.
And I'm so blind sometimes because I was like, oh, moonshine, oh, the moon.
We didn't get that. I mean, like I'm pretty obtuse, and I'm
so word being associated with the drink that an alcoholic drink beverage that you make in your bathtub back in the day. You know, I'm so accustomed to that. It just didn't click until I was like, oh, moonshine. Oh, wow, what a great play on the word.
Yeah, so, I instantly got it as soon as I heard it. I'm like, "Oh, great! That's a great
smart.
title."
And then you know what? You're better. You're
for saying.
Yeah,
well, I mean, go ahead, Tim. What were you saying?
No, it was one of those things where like I wrote the story, and it was like almost from the beginning that was like, this is what we have to call it. Like, and I had like a whole list of like alternate titles, but like nothing really hit like that moonshine. It was like, it was perfect. It also like works with the plot, like, you know what, but yeah, it has to be moonshine. Brian Azzarello be damned. It
titles.
Well, yeah, it's only the idea that is copyrighted, not the titles. Titles are often too small, and it's only when a title is like has branding and marketing, like G.I. Joe, Transformers, Star Wars. Right. You know, although I might get away with a comic book about electricians called Transformers, so maybe try that.
Maybe if there you go.
or like put a the
copyrighted stuff. So maybe you can get away with it.
But I think I'll be okay with the title though.
So you teased this title to us when last time you were on the show. Yeah. And I really dug the premise, and I was looking forward to it. And now here we are. It's currently live on Kickstarter, correct?
Yes,
I'm
sir.
mistaken. So currently on Kickstarter. I'll put it up in a minute. But let me just start off right at the bat. What was it that prompted you to want to write this story? Like, what was it? Was it a combination of things, or just something you just one day you just had this idea and you just started writing? What was it that started?
Well, if 1940s films inspired Star Noir, it's the love of westerns that inspired Moonshine. Tombstone is my number one western that I've rewatched countless times. I quote all the Doc Holliday lines. Well, nice. Ed, if I thought you were my friend, well, I just couldn't bear it. He's got all the best lines. And Red Dead Redemption is one of my favorite video games. It's Red Dead Redemption is actually the reason I have a mustache, if you could believe it.
Oh, really?
Yeah, I was playing it during the pandemic, and then my Arthur Morgan had a look kind of like this, and I was like, I kind of had a sense of like how I could grow facial hair, and I was like, could I pull that off? And so, since you're not leaving the house, it's a great time to try to grow a mustache to see if it would work. And then nice. I did grow it, and then I was like, this is okay. I'll cut this. But then everyone started complimenting it. Everybody was just like, hey, that mustache. I like. So all right, so people like it, so we'll leave it. Never noticed.
wait, you got a mustache?
I thought it was part of your face.
Yeah, so it's that, and then I'm very fascinated by the moon. Like, you know,
you and I both, my friend. You and I both.
It's so it's such like unexplored territory, and it's so mysterious. And just doing research on it, you know, on all aspects of it, you just learn so much. I mean, you've got you know, when it's in the sunlight, that's like plus 250 degrees Fahrenheit, and then when it's nighttime, it's negative 250. There are 4 types of moonquakes that happen. One is caused by the polarity between the tidal lock between Earth and the moon. It kind of like stretches the moon a little bit. There's one that's calling it. There's one that's caused by this spike in temperature, like when it goes from freezing cold to boiling hot, like just because it becomes like like a big oven, and both are trying to kill you. And there's actually
Wow.
and there's and that we do where the characters are arguing about something, hits its peak, then a moonquake starts to happen, because the story starts kind of in a darker, kind of almost like a low lit dawn. But as you read the comic
That's cool.
That
That's
is
a really great
clever.
idea. Time. I mean, yeah, you could.
sure like what causes it. It is the thing that they say where the moon rings like a bell. It's the shallow moonquake that does it. It's because the moon is very dry. And created these aliens called creeps that kind of burrow out of the ground. They're But yeah, we kind of I took kind of that inspiration of like, well, they don't know what causes this fourth moonquake, and you're like, all right, what if it's caused by these like alien creatures with burrow out of the ground, and them burrowing out of the rocks is like what causes the moonquake.
That's
So
cool.
yeah, and then it's just like, just trying to tell a traditional Western like on this setting, and just let all the science like be in the background. Like at no point does a character explain the science of the moon. There are just little things that you get visually that you should, as the reader, you just ask questions about, like, what's that for? I wonder why they're doing that. They have this thing called it's called polyphasic sleep. It's something that deer do because the moon spends 14 days in darkness and then 14 days in sunlight. There is no like circadian rhythm. So you don't get, it's tough to kind of go to sleep for 8 hours. So what they do is what these cowboys do is essentially power naps. So they'll just, like, as they're riding on the horse, like they're just napping they pull the cowboy hat forward. Like the thing that we created with the spacesuit, we baked in the cowboy hat into the spacesuit. So it actually works as like sort of like a medieval battle visor. So like you can actually pull it forward, and it becomes almost like this bandit mask. And then when they lift it back up, it looks like a cowboy hat again. So, because this is
obviously,
and this is not a story where like this is where we spend all our time. It's like, no, this is a journey with a gang of 5, a posse of 5, and a scientist that comes with them. As they go from the near side to the far side as they ride. And it's just this long, about a week's long journey for them. It's got everything. It's got duels. It's got there's a train robbery scene that's really awesome.
On the moon?
Yeah.
Nice. Oh, I thought that was like a flashback or something on there, but that's great. Wow.
No,
okay.
there's a whole train robbery scene that happens. Characters die along the way, like they bury a few graves on the way to the far side, and not everybody comes back. I can't really spoil too much, but like,
right.
It's essentially a suicide mission, and resources become scarce. They have to become more inventive. There's betrayals that happen. And it really is just kind of a love letter to Westerns, and just like all of my all of my wonderment about the moon and how it works. The gravity thing, it was really fun to study. Essentially, since it's a sixth of our gravity, so like,
right.
It's no problem. Also because there's no air to kind of stop movement. If you were to like throw a wrench into the air, you'd be like, oh, that went up really high. Oh shit, here it comes. Like it comes back down so fast. Like there's no air to like slow its descent.
Right.
And just kind of trying to take all that physics and just figure out how to like work it into the story. I created the pitch video there. We do kind of in the same vein as the Star Noir thing. We do a thematic 1 minute kind of pitch.
Now, okay, I'll ask you questions about the artist after we play this.
Yeah, for sure.
Oh, wait a minute. I didn't share the audio because I always get the echo whenever I show the audio. So
yeah.
give me a second. Let me just remove this real quick.
Well, while you're figuring that out, so I know with when you do, Star Noir, I think when we talked about it, how you like to combine the supernatural with the realistic and stuff like that. So when you were creating this, what did you have like a percentage in your mind of like, okay, so I'm going to make it like when I'm designing these things, I want to try and make it 50% Western theming, 50% moon theming? Or is it because it's like, well, because we're on the moon, maybe the moon and science aspect of it should be like maybe like 60% when I'm designing stuff versus the Western, which is like 40%. And it's like when you're coming up with these ideas, like what in your brain, like how is it that you're trying to like merge them together?
Well, I think the Western aspect it leads. The themes, the types, the archetypes that you meet. If you've seen anything like the Wild Bunch, some of these character types will be familiar to you. There's a thing that the video game Starfield created. It's called NASA Punk, where it takes spacesuit designs that we're all familiar with, and kind of trying to make like, well, what if there's a whole culture that like design their own spacesuits, and they kind of each character has kind of like a flair to how they wear their spacesuits. I think kind of like is kind of a combination of that NASA punk, with kind of a traditional like Western tropes that we then like flip on its ear. So there are things that you expect to happen because you've seen Westerns, and it's like, well, no, I'm tricking you. I'm leading, I'm leading you astray intentionally.
Oh, nice.
Yeah, I think because with Star Noir, it was like a realistic setting. There was just like a lot of like grounded research that I had to do with Star Noir, but like because this is on the moon, I have the science of how the moon works, and I think I was able to just invent a lot of tech that goes with it. I mean, you have these the horses, which they're called Chargers. They're designed after like the Boston Dynamics robots.
Okay.
A lot of their designs, and then also they have the rovers. These are lunar outlaws. That's what they're called. There's sort of like kind of a almost like a motorcycle culture to it, where like all of their Chargers are like custom built and are reflective of their personalities. They're all named after gunslingers. Our main character Wade, his horse is named Bonnie, like Bonnie and Clyde.
Nice.
Yeah.
And so cool. the one that with the moonrise they're all like the Harleys and the Hogs and stuff like that. They're all
it's like
chromed out.
Yeah, to kind of personalize it, they kind of take a little bit that chopper culture and then add it just because like it's trying to blend kind of the cowboy posse with like the motorcycle gang posse, just kind of have a merger of those two.
Nice.
Yeah.
You have the video up? Or
I have the video. It's ready to go. So let's check this out. This is for Moonshine on Kickstarter.
The Moon, a desolate frontier. Wade Gallows, retired rover, a man haunted by his past, lives a quiet life in the remote town of
Okay, hold on.
What?
Hold on for a second. Can you hear it?
Yeah, we can hear it.
Oh, I can't hear it. Okay, you know what? I'll play it. My bad. I can't hear it on my end, so I thought it wasn't playing. All right, never mind.
No, we're good.
Here we go.
The Moon, a desolate frontier. Wade Gallows, retired rover, a man haunted by his past, lives a quiet life in the remote town of Caldera. But fate comes a-knocking, as it often does. A chance to ride to the far side to save the moon's energy. The deal isn't without strings. His beloved ranch of Chargers hangs in the balance, should he not comply. Caught between the life he's built and the one that still lingers, Wade takes on his suicide mission. He recruits his old posse to brave the moon's many challenges. Rival gangs, aliens, deadly moonquakes. All the while, karma nips at their heels like a cruel mistress. The past never stays buried for long. 5 rovers, 1 scientist, riding into hell's depths to ensure Luna's survival, by hook or by crook. Moonshine is penned by Mr. Tony James, a writer of sorts, a lover of westerns and science fiction. Writing alongside him are his three compatriots, experts in what they do best, just like our rovers. And heck fire, take a gander at those rewards. The exclusives won't be sitting in the saddle for long. Keep an eye on the add-ons as well. Stake your claim with these additional items. Get a move on, cowpokes. Back Moonshine today. It's time to ride like the devil's chasing you.
Cowpokes.
Yeah.
It seems like you had a lot of fun while doing this. Like when you were talking about with the coming up with all of the technical aspects of it, was there something that really shocked you when researching about the moon and stuff like that? I know you kind of got into it with the like moonquakes and stuff like that. Was there something when you were really researching it, you're like, oh, this is a great thing that I know exactly what I'm going to do for in my story and take this piece?
Yeah, I think it was the moonquakes. Because there was just so much narrative potential, and making these rovers essentially seismologists. So they have their own equipment to detect when moonquakes are going to happen. There's also one of the things that we do in one of the scenes is that there's a conversation that's happening, and then there's a little like seismometer that they set up near camp, and it starts to kind of spin like faster and faster, and it's kind of like kind of building tension as like you know that another moonquake is coming. It's also like because the moon is such an unforgiving place. I mean, it's essentially like being in Antarctica or at the bottom of the ocean. It's just a very inhospitable place. So resource management is very huge for these characters. They've counted for how much they have everything, how much everything weighs. That's very important to them. There are complications that happen with their resources, so they have to go and find new resources, which creates very interesting scenes that happen because of that. Yeah.
And it might get explained in the book, so if it does, don't have to say, but like in terms of the story aspect of it,
yeah,
like it has like is the Earth still like a part in the story and stuff like that, or do we mainly just focus on the moon?
We are focused on the moon. So as the I don't know. Did you not hear that video, Julius? So you don't know what happened in that video? Okay, all right. Well, I'll recap basically the central premise of this story. So you have Wade Gallows. He's this retired outlaw, and he is met by a government agency called Saros, and they need him to ride to the far side to repair a harvester that is harvesting this element called helium-3. Which is a real element that exists on the moon. Basically, since the moon has no atmosphere, a bunch of solar winds have been kind of pummeling the moon for like billions of years and has essentially supercharged the rocks. So scientists have said that like 200 pounds of that stuff could power the city of Dallas for a year. Wow. And the moon is just covered in that stuff. So when we finally are able to kind of create a mining colony on the moon, one of the main resources that we're probably going to mine first is helium-3. So that is the element that they're after as he brings the team together. He's lost a former rover that we opened the book with, and his old partner is just kind of like lurking in the background as kind of this returning threat. And this is a story about karma. Is it possible to remove bad karma with a good act? And each character wrestles with that aspect of it. And yeah, it's a very character driven piece. There are bombastic action elements to it. It's very fun, but there are a lot of serious moments in it. There's stuff that happens that even I still are like, man, I'd love to get to this scene for everyone to read this moment, because it's a really good character moment. I mean, characters that are like very tough as nails, that show no emotion by the end of it because of the events, are like forced to show some emotion. They're because they need to like push forward on their mission. Like, you know, there are very tough sacrifices that need to be made. Yeah, so it's just very action packed story. Yeah,
like almost every outer space movie that's ever come out, it's always the high stakes, right? Like Apollo 13 is a movie that comes to mind where they're stuck in space and they have to figure out how to get back, and it's just nothing but high tension because, I mean, there's no way. Oh, can I just go back now and go back to Earth? And
there's
Control
limited,
Z.
yeah, exactly.
There's limited supply, limited oxygen,
exactly.
And they have to make some concessions that go with that.
And it's a great genre mixing because westerns are known for high stakes, right? The bad guy is looking for the good guy, and then the whole time you're wondering, is the good guy going to make it? Because the bad guy's pretty ruthless, and who's the faster gun, right? Who's the faster draw? Yeah, so it's a great I love that. It's a great premise.
Yeah, and really when we first find Wade, our main character, he's sort of kind of caught between two worlds. Like he's trying to kind of live this quiet life in this kind of smaller town. So there's like this main city where most people live called Meridian, and that one's near where the Apollo 11 site is, and he lives. The near side of the moon has these seas. That's what they call them. Seas are like almost like they're like volcanic like bed. Like basically the moon was full of lava and then hardened up, and there are just like these kind of big giant craters called seas, and one of them is near the Apollo sites where most of the astronauts landed. And then Wade lives in the outskirts, like with like a very small group of people that decided that, hey, we don't really like need the government money. Like we'll just sort of like be self-sustaining on our own. So he's kind of like caught between this life where he kind of has this ranch of chargers where he kind of designs his own horses for basically for tourists to come in and just kind of take rides out on the lunar landscape. And things he gets a little bit squeezed by the government, which kind of leverages him to go on this mission. He's got like a love named Celine, and he's sort of kind of caught up between like wanting to stay there and just kind of live what he has, but there's also like a desire to figure out like what happened to his former partner that kind of got left on the far side, which is what we open the book with.
Nice.
All right. Yeah,
that's cool. When you're talking about it, it's like when you were mentioning with the helium-3, was it helium-3 or
helium-3?
Yeah, it's like the way you're talking about it, it's almost like in westerns where they like go to like a gold and silver mine and they're mining that. Like this is their version of gold and silver. That's like the commodity that everybody would want to get.
And one of the main kind of tropes that you see in westerns that we do play with here is their fight against modernity. Like these rovers were essentially tasked with like breaking new ground on the moon to kind of ride these horses out really far out. And since they didn't want to like trust drones with it, they wanted humans out there. They were kind of the first to kind of find these new settlements, so they could kind of harvest new minerals, find new mineral spots, so they're kind of being kind of slowly phased out. So they're kind of pushing against robots doing their jobs, and I think there's a lot of that kind of like we're kind of being pushed to the side, and we're just trying to kind of live our life in this quiet town that we built. And all of that with the townspeople really kind of comes to the head in the story, where it's them versus the overarching government that wants to kind of do away with them.
Awesome. Yeah. And I'm really loving the art. Now I want to know, where did you find your artist? Is he someone who you've known already, or someone you've had your eye on and you thought maybe his style would fit the story?
Well, his name is Luke Horseman. So I thought that was pretty fitting if you're gonna do a western.
yeah.
He actually found me. He was liking a bunch of Star Noir posts. He was very into the art from Star Noir, and then he started following me. and I was like looking for artists, and I looked at his, and it was one of those art styles that like I couldn't stop looking at. Like I would look at it and I would go like I know what this is, but then I would like look at other portfolios of other artists, and I was like, but Luke's was like unique. It was really. I was on Keith's show, and Keith was like, oh, this is like Daniel Warren Johnson vibes, and I was like, oh,
there you go.
That's a pretty solid compliment. Yeah, I just and just the way he visualizes the script. I mean, it's the same thing with Star Noir. Like my scripts are just very direct. Like this is just what this is like the action we should see, not anything about like camera angles or anything like that. Just like just the important information we should see. Right. And then he comes up with these like amazing layouts that it's just like yeah, it's just so expressive and so dynamic. And you know, I love this shot of Wade riding into Caldera. Yeah, this is there he's riding up. There's a bar that exists under this space capsule.
Nice. Okay.
Yes. So there's a saloon scene where he kind of that's like built underground.
There it is. All right.
Yeah.
Nice.
Yeah.
Of course, you can't have a book called Moonshine in the West and not have a saloon.
But that's Moonshine is actually their shorthand for helium-3. Like that's what you know. In this scene right here, Wade tells this scientist who wants him to go to the far side, it's like, you're gonna have to go and find somebody else to get your moonshine. He's referring to the helium-3 that's out there. So
wow, that's great. I love hearing stories like that about artists reaching out to the writers and actually one, being a fan of the work you're doing, and then two, wanting to work with you. Is that what happened essentially? He contacted you and said, hey, I want to work with you, let's do something.
No, he was just like, he followed me, he liked a bunch of Star Noir posts. I happened to be like looking for artists, and I was like, do you like Westerns? And he's like, I love Westerns. And I was like, okay,
beautiful.
Great. Well, cool. Yeah. And your last name is Horseman? Like
nice.
Yeah.
That's a great coming together. That's the universe talking to you and putting everything together for you.
And he draws Judge Dredd for 2000 AD.
Oh, okay. So he's a working artist too. Then he's not just some creator. Okay.
He's got cred. And yeah, his Instagram is full of amazing art. And then Gonzalo Ruggieri, he's done a bunch of stuff. There's a book called The Convert that was published by Image that he colored. I don't know if you guys know about the Kickstarter series Lamp Black. That's a pretty big Kickstarter series. It's got like a Studio Ghibli vibe to it.
No, I can't say that I've heard of it.
Yeah, it's a popular Kickstarter comic, but he's colored some covers for that. And just like how Luke's style just felt very like unique, and I couldn't really place it to anything.
Right.
Gonzalo had the same thing with his coloring. Like it's almost like a concentrated watercolor style. Like it's really hard to describe how he does what he does. A lot of his color work is like that. So I just thought like dynamic styles could create something really unique. And like, you know, when it came to making this book, like I didn't want it to look like Star Noir. Like the pulpy look of Star Noir like fits that story. This one's a little more bombastic. There are elements in here that are a little more over the top, and even though we maintain a sense of believability, there are still kind of bigger ideas than you would see in like Star Noir. So I wanted an art style that could kind of really capture that. And yeah.
Well, I do like the use that there actually is color in it, because it could be very easy to just keep it with like gray tones and all black tones and stuff like that. And I've known, books like that in DC and Marvel where they just keep the same color palette through the whole thing. And especially like when you're dealing with different characters, I'm like, I have no idea who any of these guys, I can't distinguish between any of them. And at least, here I can see like there's like, at least different pops of really bright colors with them. So I'm like, oh, okay, I know who these people are. You know,
Yeah.
by doing
And
that.
then we like you asked the thing about the earth before, and that is a lingering background element that I want the reader to kind of place their own sort of story as to what happened to it. This is sort of it's their colony is sort of like a post-Earth type of thing. You have more humans living on Mars than they are living on Earth.
Oh, interesting, fascinating.
Yeah.
Okay.
And then you know, with the way that we kind of colored the ground for the moon, I mean, you would think like, oh, it's just like kind of this white gray, everything's gray. There was a photographer who like took these high-res images of the moon and put it on Instagram that kind of like went viral. And there's so much color. Like there are dark reds, there are dark blues, and it was like, ooh, well, if this is what it actually looks like, let's actually make it that color. So
Cool.
you know, I sent all of those images to Gonzalo, and he kind of like recreated the way that the soil looks. And then in terms of light, something that I can tease, there is a lunar eclipse. And if you know anything about what the moon looks like during a lunar eclipse, it might kind of give you an idea of what the color palette might change into.
Nice, dude. Very nice. Very
Yeah.
nice.
That'd be cool. So
Yeah.
is this a one shot, or is this gonna be like an ongoing series that's gonna be coming out?
There are 6 books. They're going to be about 50 pages long, so good meaty chapters. Yeah, and this is I want to say Act 1, but it's actually phase. If we're going to do lunar phases, it's the lunar
Nice.
phase 1.
Yeah,
but,
40 page. Okay, very cool.
Yeah, it's all written. You know, it's another one of those stories that like I had been working on for a while. You know, put it in a drawer, and then you know, everyone was kind of talking about like, you know, they don't make enough westerns anymore. We should make more westerns, and it's like, all right, well, I have a western. I'm very excited about this western, and so yeah, here we have Moonshine. It's kind of sad, just like Star Noir. It's you kind of spend so much time in the dark with your story, and now it's out there in the open, and then you know, before you know it, it's not mine anymore. It becomes the reader's.
Right.
Mhm.
Absolutely.
So it's kind of a watershed moment where you're just like, you know, I miss what we had when it was just us late night,
Right.
just trying to figure out how to make this work.
But now you can go and talk to the actual people that are excited about it and you know wanting to read it and you know stuff like that, and actually have conversations with them.
And I was really.
Oh, go ahead, Tony. Go ahead.
No, I was just saying, like in terms of people that have come out to support it so far, I was actually surprised at how many backers that came in for Star Noir Book 3, like they're new readers, like they haven't read the 3rd book or any of the books yet, and they're like, no, that was so cool. I want to back this as well because I want to see also this. So to kind of get that much faith in a new reader, like it's one thing to kind of have the established reader also want to see something,
Right.
but to get a bunch of new readers who are also interested in this is very cool.
Yeah, very cool. And it's doing well. 102 backers so far. It's you're at almost at the halfway point of the $10,000 goal with 20 days to go. So it's it's doing pretty good. I think you're gonna hit your goal at the rate you're going.
Yeah. It's always a climb with Kickstarter. We don't have to drill too much into it, but I got a little flack on Twitter for about like the way that we price our comics. I feel that, you know, creators should kind of price them more appropriately to what their overhead is, you know, because I feel like we're a bunch of mom and pop shops, and to kind of like, you know, kind of have big overheads, but kind of like offer everything for pennies. I don't think that's really like a good business model. And I got into a lot of trouble for which, by the way, you can price your comics however you want. That's just how I feel. I feel a little bit differently. There's this thing called the consumer hourglass theory. You know what that is, right, Julius Kyle?
No, actually, no, I don't know what that is.
Oh, okay. So essentially, it's kind of a way to illustrate consumer spending. So, you know, you think about an hourglass, right? And at the top, you've got like Ferrari, Gucci, Apple, and in the bottom of the hourglass, you've got like, you know, like your Targets, your Walmarts, And then in the middle, you've got a kind of a group of people that want to like, maybe they'll splurge on a Starbucks now and again, but they're always trying to like look for kind of a deal, and they're kind of making concessions about what they want. And the way that I price my stuff, going back to Star Noir Book 1, was trying to go after the consumers that were in that upper part of the hourglass. Because even in kind of economic downturn, the spending becomes very polarized. So the rich people want to keep spending more stuff on their own stuff, and then so it's like a lot of Chromebooks are getting sold, a lot of MacBooks are getting sold, but it's very tough for the people that want to buy Lenovo's. Because those people are constantly like making little concessions where you're like, it has this, but not this. It's a new iPhone, but it's like but it's actually a refurbished thing from a few years ago, so I can save a few money. And I think that middle section often gets very squeezed because just like our economy, the middle class gets squeezed. People either trade up or trade down, so it's like you're either going to be a consumer that like wants to kind of get, you're either going to offer, maximum value or maximum experience. And I'm someone that's trying to offer maximum experience. And there are plenty of people on Kickstarter that are interested in maximum experience. One of the analytics that Kickstarter offers is the type of backer in terms of frequency. They have this thing called power backers, where it's just like they're backing stuff all the time, like left and right. Those are the people with like the most disposable income. And my books, even going to Star Noir, has like a significant portion of those people that are doing, as opposed to the ones that are like they'll back something every other month or maybe just a couple times a year. So I price my stuff more fitting. Cool, thank you. I appreciate that. and it very much is. So I price my stuff kind of like for the upper part of the hourglass, which is
Gotcha.
Which is, you can do it. You don't have to. It's really up to you. It really is just up to you and what you can afford as a creator. So it's not really like I was just sort of like against this one size fits all of like, regardless of overhead, regardless of how many pages, regardless of like what your art team costs, like sell everything for 10 to 15. And you're like, but I don't think that works for everybody. Like I think you kind of really decide like which part of the hourglass you're going after. And people buy in the upper or the lower, so it's really not like a bad choice either way. It's really hard to cater to the entire hourglass, so you really kind of just pick. And then also like a lot of the prices that like I researched, I mean the precedent was set from Star Noir Book 1, and there were books by like Pat Shand. There was a book called Destiny New York. Because when I was going to do Star Noir Book 1, I was like, I know this has to be a 10K goal. So I really kind of had to go not so much for number of backers, but like a dollar amount per backer.
Gotcha.
Yeah.
Okay.
Yeah.
Yeah.
No,
so
that makes sense.
like,
that makes sense.
Yeah. So like when you go to your dashboard of your Kickstarter, there's a section that says like average backer pledge. And that's the number that I'm the most focused on when I'm running a Kickstarter campaign. And so, yeah, it was books like Pat Shand's, the Destiny New York. There was several other ones, like things that were like more than 10K, had 200 to 300 backers. A lot of those campaigns I really studied. I mean, and some of those campaigns, they did have $10 thank you pledges. Like I was kind of surprised by that. And it was just like, no, that makes sense. I mean, you want to encourage people to go and get the book. But there are some people, this happened with Star Noir plenty. There every now and again, I'd meet somebody who's like, I don't have any money, but this comic is amazing. Like, I just want to like show that my support in some small way, and just happy to have that. I don't feel that, I don't think it's like an ego pledge. I was kind of criticized on the internet for that being like an ego pledge, and it's just like, but I'm not the only creator to ever do that, and B, I'm very grateful for those $10. Like that's I'm not when you're doing a crowdfunding campaign, you're not turning away any money. Like
Yeah.
Right.
it's,
No, absolutely. Absolutely.
Yeah.
And I can speak from experience with that because that's what we did with Vigilant Fury. We underpriced it.
Yeah.
And the thinking was, well, if we price it kind of as low as we can, maybe more people will back it because it's cheaper. But then, of course, later on, found out that that's not the case when it comes to crowdfunding. That only works, say, if you're like already in not so much now, but if you're in Diamond already and you had a massive amount of orders, then you could charge a little less because you have so much orders in terms of what do you call it? The
economies of scale.
Yeah, there you go. Thank you, Kyle. And so we barely made it with Vigilant Fury. Gambino and I realized, dude, we totally underpriced our book, and now we just barely made it in terms of printing costs, shipping and handling, and all that stuff. So you're absolutely right. Your tweet, when I saw it, I was like, yeah, it's right on the money. That's exactly what happened to me. We gotta make sure that we're good so that we continue on making more crowdfunding books, because we obviously want to pay our artists. We want to actually have revenue coming in, so that way we can have the budget to do more books or cover other costs.
I mean, and it's a kind of teeter-totter effect. I mean, the more you lower the price, the more backers you get, which is great, but then your fulfillment costs are going to start to balloon.
There you go.
And I think that's the fulfillment part. That's where kind of creators are overlooked that, and that's where you're most going to take a bath. Where you're like, great, you got 400 backers. Now, how many Gemini mailers? How much tape? How much postage? That stuff really adds up really fast. So it's just raising it a little bit. You lose some backers, but it becomes a little bit more manageable. And there is a very prolific creator that I won't name because he's a very polarizing individual. But one of the things that they said that I thought was very interesting, and I applied to Star Noir and now here Moonshine, is of course you're trying to find an attractive price point for most people.
Right. Yeah.
But at a certain point, when it comes to your overhead, it costs what it costs. It's if the internet wants to see this book at this quality with this art team, there's a threshold that we just can't cross. It's not about we could offer it for cheaper. It's if we offer it for cheaper, this is the only book that's ever getting made. And we would like to make the entire series. So Star Noir followed that philosophy. It's doing well as a result. And now Moonshine is over here following the same philosophy. And again, you are free to price your book however you feel. What I didn't like about that tweet, it was kind of people were kind of being oh, there's a standard and you don't like the standard. And it's just I don't agree that there is a standard. I think when these guys are trying to push the 10 to 15, it's all I hear is they're just talking about the bottom of the hourglass. And they're acting like the bottom of the hourglass is the only thing that exists. And I just don't think that's kind of a realistic view of consumer spending or how consumer spending happens on Kickstarter. I made the pizza analogy a few times on your show where it's there are a lot of people that want to buy the pizza that's right downstairs. It's very cheap.
Right.
But there's also an equal number of people that don't mind walking a few blocks for the pizza that costs a little bit more because it's really good pizza. So it's I think it's just really about which audience are you going after. And listen, I kind of play a little bit of high stakes poker, because when you set a price point like this, there's an expectation with your backers. Every book that goes out, every Star Noir book, it can't be good. It has to be fuck you good because we have to we have to justify the price,
Right.
Absolutely.
So if you read you read Star Noir book 3 and you're that was okay. You're that's bad for me. I don't want to have that happen. I need you to go. I need you to kind of almost be like a drug addict. You need to do the 4th one right now.
Yeah. Don't shut up and take my money.
Yeah.
Yes.
Right.
So that we can continue to justify. It's the thing I said earlier about offering maximum experience over maximum value, and that's kind of what I do. I get accused of ego on the Twitters a lot. I also don't like that. I think that gets confused with confidence. Like I have confidence. That's the number one, like in my life, that word has been repeated to me a lot by a lot of people. I understand that confidence and ego, they're very similar at first glance.
Yeah.
But I've always associated with the difference between a lighthouse and a spotlight. So like a confidence is a lighthouse. Like whether you see it in the distance, it's spinning its light. You can sail up to it if you want. You can keep sailing past it, but no matter what, it's always going to be there doing its thing. Spotlights is just kind of like in your face. Like, hold on a second. Why are you coming at me? And it's like, yeah, when they're like, when you see on Twitter, everyone's like, sorry.
I'm sorry. I'm sorry.
No,
sorry, dude.
No, it's just like ego is kind of more like when you see creators like throwing like crowdfunding stats at each other, and it's just like, you're like, what are we doing here? Like, it just kind of seems like a juvenile pissing contest. Like, that to me reads as ego. Like I feel confident in my work, in my ability. I'm a very cynical writer. I like that. At no point am I sitting here going like, yeah, I'm the Star Noir guy. Like, we got this next one. It's like, no, it's like, it's stress all the way to the reader going like, I loved it. And you're like, okay, cool.
Yeah. Right.
Deep breath.
Yeah. and then we're okay for about 2 days until we start production on the next book. And then the stress cycle starts over again.
Yeah.
But yeah, sometimes those guys, they like to accuse me of like thinking I'm better than other people, and it's just like, no, my only competition is myself. Like I'm concerned with myself. Like when I talk about standards, when I talk about quality, like I am referring to my quality and my standards. Like people don't have to adhere to that. Like I read comics all the time that like may not be up to my taste or up to my quality, but like that's that. Like I'm not gonna ever knock them for that or kind of like wag my finger at them for that. It's like that's what they wanted to make. And honestly, so long as the story's entertaining, like I can forgive a lot of rough around the edges stuff. But yeah, I kind of wish on Twitter they didn't read everything that I did as pure ego, because I think that's kind of reductive. And it's just, it's just a confident inability. Honestly, it's given to me by my readers, who don't just say like, oh, that's a nice book. It's like they kind of like they shake me. They're like, I've never read anything like this, and you're like, whoa, okay, all right, I guess I did pretty well. Like, and that just kind of creates confidence in the work. It's like Star Noir books 1 and 2. Like I feel very confident in its quality and its entertainment, mostly because it's out of my hands. Like I can't tinker with it anymore. Like I can't revise anything, and it's just like, the third one, it's like I'm confident that people will like it. We don't know. You never know with these things. It's like you run the play backwards and forwards, but you don't know if their reader's gonna like catch something or see something that you weren't even paying attention to. But like, as I said, with the price point that we set, we just leave it all out there. Like we put everything in. Like we don't pull any punches. There's no like, well, maybe we'll keep this secret for the next book. And it's like, no, what if they don't like the book? Throw it in there. Like,
right. That's what I always hate about like, the modern Marvel and DC and stuff like that. Is like, specifically, I've told you this, Julius, but one title, it's Helverine title that came out. They were doing like single issues with like, bad guy of the week type of thing. And then they teased that they are going to do the Helverine versus the Hell Hulk. And then like everybody's so excited about it. And then it gets to that issue. They have the covers and you open up the issue and they don't even have it. They find a piece of the Hell Hulk. And then it stretches out for 4 more issues of them finding the different pieces of him to assemble him, to then finally go and then get up to him to fight him, and then it's not till next month before they actually fight. And it's like, what are we doing? I want to see them fight. Why are you teasing it for 4 issues to just like not actually have them fight, even in the issue where it's all coming together? It's like, it frustrates me.
There was somebody I can't remember the person on Twitter, but it was like a few weeks ago. Somebody was like advocating for like, more meteor stories, like per book or per issue, just more complete things. just so that like if there's a wait between books, there's something pretty significant to chew on while they wait. That's what I like about Absolute Batman. It's just it feels like, with like one exception of one of the issues that's needed a little fillery. I feel like I kind of get a lot out of each issue.
Oh yeah, jam packed for sure.
Yeah.
And that's how they used to write comics back in the day, back in the 90s. They will always try to compress a story B or a story A with the B plot line in the same issue, and then you have a full-on story that you could look forward to every month.
Yeah,
those issues. Not so much now. Now like Kyle says, they drag it out, and it's almost like they don't have confidence in the story to develop, or I don't know exactly I don't know if it's the writers or I don't know if it's editorial guiding the writers to write it that way. That's the thing we don't really know yet or at all until someone talks and mentions it, but no one's talking.
Years down the line, and then like, well, thanks for making me waste $20 for getting all those issues because I had to stretch out the story so long.
Yeah. So I mean, especially for crowdfunded books, I think we if we're gonna break them up and they're not gonna be one shots, I think each installment's got to be pretty meaty.
Yeah, agreed. For sure, especially if you want the backers to come back to the next one, and if you want to gain new readers too, who hopefully the backers who do read your first book or second book will spread the word and say, hey, you know what? If you're looking for something like like an aliens conspiracy, check out this Star Noir. It's live right now on Kickstarter. Go back it and get your copy. So that's you're absolutely right about the overhead. About how we are kind of like mom and pop bakery shops. We do have to really look at, unless you have the money to burn, then all right, by all means go for it. And you're right, it's not a one size fits all. It's not a standardized pricing. You gotta just go with what works for you as an individual creator and what you have.
And you could look at other campaigns that are successful that you're trying to emulate and kind of see what works for them and see how it could apply to what you're doing. But I think the overhead's kind of got a lead for you just so that you can fulfill books and not lose your shirt in the process.
Yes. Absolutely. But I think that sums it up. A great premise, a strong story. I mean, this is something that I probably will back if I'm not broke. I have to wait and see, because I do want to get this copy. And it's due out. When is it due out? I didn't see the
we're going to be working on it through the winter. So we'll probably have it in February.
Okay, February next year. Okay, right on. What's the percentage if you want to divulge that? How far into finishing it?
We're in like the first third of it.
Okay,
so we're already off to the races. Just want to get it funded, so we just kind of like, will it be funded? That
Yeah, I know. Yeah, you're right. It's nerve-wracking because you're like, oh my god, it's like slowed down to a lull, and it's 19 days. The clock is ticking, and
because it's the bathtub. Like we're in like the middle of the campaign, and that's where it usually slows down. But I think because we started so strongly. Also, starting our book one, like it made $700 its first day, and Moonshine made almost $3,000.
That's great.
So Moonshine book one is in a much stronger position. When we was doing Star Noir book one and day one came back and it was like $700, I was like, there's no way this story. Yes.
Oh yeah,
that'd be late.
So
they're late. Yeah, I mean, that's a great way to. I mean, because I think with book 3 of Star Noir with the late pledges, we raised an extra $2K. Just over time.
Okay.
Yeah,
nice.
Just people finding it, just people jumping around. There's also people that they find my book on the Indiegogos, like the In-Demands.
Oh, okay.
This is why I don't have a website right now. Is because I'm for the time investment that I don't have to put into building a website and hosting and all that stuff. I have Indiegogos that kind of work on my behalf, and it's just okay, well, I'm fine with the convenience fee giving to Indiegogo for the short term.
Right.
But plenty of readers, they find the Indiegogos. Actually, one recently, they went to the Indiegogo for the first book, mailed it to them. They went to the second Indiegogo for the second book, mailed that one to them, and then they came to the late pledge for the Kickstarter. So they sort of bounced around,
hopscotched around.
Nice.
And it
Those
was
are
just
great.
sort of like, it was like, well, you could have just like saved some money and got like the ketchup of the second in demand, but I'm not going to turn away extra money. That's fine.
Yeah, exactly.
But yeah, do late pledges, and they also do this new thing called pledge over time, where it's like it's like $100 or something or more. You get to break it up over 3 months. That's pretty interesting. It's actually encouraged a lot of backers to like spend more, which is pretty interesting. Yeah, because when you get kind of close, it tells you like, hey, if you just get $20 more, you can break this up. I joke with my girlfriend that it's Klarna payments. Like, oh, you just get Klarna. It's not Klarna. It's actually more an in-house thing. Like they're just taking your pledge instead of just charging you all at once. It's just like, hey, we're just going to charge you for the next 3 consecutive months to break it up, so that it's a little bit more manageable for people to spend more on these campaigns.
Why'd you go into so much debt? Comic books.
Well, Kyle, you have anything else you want to add or ask Tony as before we call it a night? Because it's been pretty good. I mean, we've been talking for an hour and a half, which is crazy. We've never done that before.
Time flies.
Cool. Yeah, time flies when you're having fun.
Exactly. Well, it's always fun talking to you, Tony. And talking about Comic-Con experiences and Fantastic Four. What'd you think about it and all that stuff? It's great hearing your opinion. I mean, for those who didn't see, we gave Fantastic Four a pretty good score. We definitely think it's something you should go and watch. I mean, we even convinced Julius here to go and see it.
Yeah.
So,
and I'm not a big Fantastic Four fan either. I never was.
Would you consider it a Fantastic 4 out of 5?
Oh, probably.
Nice.
Wordplay there,
Nice.
But it's also really. I'm really digging Moonshine. I mean, hearing about it, seeing the artwork. The premise is really great. I've also, I like all the westerns, especially with like Clint Eastwood and Good and Bad and the Ugly, Fistful of Dollars, $2 more, all of them. So it's great, because that's another thing too. You don't really see many Western stuff like that in comic books right now. And I know that was like a huge at the time, it was like Westerns and horror and kind of like that stuff. And superheroes were kind of, fading away.
I think Jonathan Hickman did East
and West.
East and West. Yeah, that was a good book. That was a great project.
Yeah. It's in the
Dragota drew it. So it was a great book.
That's what he talked about. That's exactly what he talked about at his panel. He was talking about it. So when seeing Moonshine, I'm like, oh yeah, there's some very interesting, cool stuff seeing that there, and then also kind of similar here.
One of the things I forgot to mention about Moonshine, about the dialogue, is that when it comes to that kind of like old Western kind of elongated speech that they have, one of the shows that really kind of inspired me and how to format the dialogue was Deadwood. Which honestly, if you want a good lesson in great dialogue, like watch Deadwood. Like they were just experts at dialogue. And then also Quentin Tarantino's Hateful Eight. The way that they talk in that. So it's like Moonshine tries to adapt that style and tries to find a good balance from having kind of these big expansive words, but still make it very accessible. So you don't like feel like you need a dictionary while you're, but like with the 1940s stuff and all of those slangs and trying to keep everything kind of short and tight. This one was kind of like, how do I keep it sparse so that, it's a easy read, but still kind of captures that kind of old West, like that very long-winded way of talking, but kind of still keep it snappy.
Nice. Yeah. Well, I'm looking forward to it. And if you haven't already, we put it in the chat, the link to the Kickstarter. Go check it out. There is, all the different perks and options and bonuses and stuff like that you can check out. And as I always say, having you on, having the guests on is a new experience, and to build those experiences, because that's what we're all about. We're all about having fun. We're all about experiences. We love talking to you. Love talking to you in the chat. coming on the show and just having fun. And that's what we're here to do, and just talk about comics, pop culture, fun stuff, whatever, movies, TV shows, just stuff that we love, because hey, you gotta love something, and we probably love it too. So it's fun to talk about.
Yeah, as Unhinged here says, we have fun here, and that's exactly what we want to do. Yeah, we like having fun, and also having discussions, the discourse. You tweeted out that tweet that got some heat, but here we have the context. We have let's unpack that. Let's dissect it and see what the exactly you mean, because everything gets lost in translation through text. It's like that. It's that Key and Peele skit, right? That Key and Peele skit.
I was just about to say that.
Where I think it's Key who's like chill and like yeah, or is it Peele?
Like,
that's chill.
Yeah,
one of them.
Peele, right? One of them. And then the other one's like going off the handles, like, I can't believe this motherfucker.
He's like, you want to go? And he's all like, yeah, whatever, up to you. He's like, yeah, whatever, up to me. Yeah.
I always feel that like when I put out a tweet like that, I feel like the thing that I always say was that this is gonna be fine. This is a very mild opinion. Like no one's gonna be upset about this. I think I'll get like Nando or BA that likes it or whatever, and we'll just move on. And then all of a sudden I come back to it a few hours later and you're like, what happened? Like
yeah, sometimes that's just the way it goes. Everyone has their opinions about something, or their thoughts, or their beliefs, and so it gets challenged every single time when something occurs. It's not just you. I feel like most people who just put out things that may not seem a big deal, but it just ends up becoming a big deal. And that's
Twitter.
like
It's Twitter, baby.
It's Twitter, exactly. It's Twitter. That's the way it goes.
Good thing I'm not really on it. I don't really.
You have the smart idea, Kyle. You live in the wonderful land of Instagram where nice things happen.
Yeah,
exactly. Just like photos, and that's it.
Yeah.
And
then, see some funny reels, and you're like, okay, cool.
Yeah, Instagram's the fun playground area. Twitter seems like a war zone. I don't even want to go there.
kind of like a war zone in a lot of ways when you think about it. But here in the YouTube channel, this is like a lounge party. Everyone's invited. Just be cool, lay back, let's talk, and we have a good time while we're here. So don't forget to like and subscribe the video to the channel, and if you want. If you like this kind of material, this kind of talk, and then hey, this is the perfect place for you. We try, like I said, we always have fun. We always talk comics, pulp culture doesn't matter, and we have our different opinions. Like for instance, earlier Tony mentioned that Kyle's a tourist for that prequel helmet back there, and let me just add to that: the prequels suck.
No.
Okay.
Hang on.
Right.
No.
Well, no. See now I'm turning against Julius because I actually do like the prequel.
Oh, 2 against 1, huh?
Yeah.
Well, what about you saying with the sequel stuff, huh, Julius? Huh?
The shot of Darth Maul, the reveal with the blast doors opening, that is like one of the greatest moments in cinema history.
That's like, I don't have my problems with episode 1. Episode 1 is my favorite. It's 2 and 3 that's absolutely atrocious for me. I just can't deal with those 2 movies. I can't do it. I can't do it. And one day, Kyle and I are gonna have our massive like throwdown between the prequels and how much I hate them. So it's coming. But yeah, thank you, Tony, again for coming on the show and sharing your project with us, because again, we're here to not only talk about comics, but also, indie comics. Indie comics is just as important and just as part of the industry. People always, most people think that the industry is separate from indie, and in reality it's not. We're connected, we're interlinked. And that's why you have a small press area at the cons, because they're there also trying to get their books out, get noticed and everything. So I'm glad that you're here, that talking with us about your project, and we look forward to your future projects, because Star Noir is great, and I'm sure this is going to be great. We have a good time reading it. So.
Cool, awesome.
Yeah. With that said, anything else, Tony, you would like to add? Any last words before we
thanks for having me. Go see Fantastic Four. I can't wait to see Superman. Hopefully it's good.
Back Moonshine.
Back
Moonshine. Yeah, Back Moonshine. You still have 19 days to go, but it goes by fast, guys. So don't miss out on Moonshine. So yeah, guys, have a great weekend. We'll see you in the next one. Stay safe out there. Peace.
Bye, guys.
It was an ordinary night during an ordinary jog when Matt Guerra stepped into his destiny. Using his Jeet Kune Do, Matt teaches would-be violators that the cost of crime is too high for them to afford. But little does Matt know, his act of bravery has run afoul of Los Valientes, Orange County's most notorious street gang. The head of Los Valientes, the mysterious dreamer, decides to make an example out of Matt. And amidst a brutal game of tit for tat, where anyone could get caught in the crossfire, Matt Guerra must bring an end to Los Valientes' wave of crime before his loved ones pay the ultimate price for his heroism. Matt Guerra is the Ghetto Dragon.